you can still embody a certain level of femininity without overdoing it in a way where it's going to work against you. And if you want to be respected a certain type of way, then there's a way that you should avoid showing up. Not every picture in your camera roll needs to be posted on social media. And y'all, listen, I get it. Like, I'm not here to be the police and tell you what to post, what not to post. But I will definitely say, like, there's a fine line between, like, posting certain things where you may, like, exude a certain type of je ne sais quoi, right? But you're still keeping it classy, still keeping it like, you know, not doing too much. And then there's another way of posting where it's just like, damn, I be looking like, you, why'd you post that? Or like, why'd you feel comfortable posting that? And in this video, like, I'm not here to like judge anybody, because I also do understand that not everybody has, like, you know, sound guidance. And I also understand that with the influence of social media, a lot of young girls, we see a lot of things online and we think that, oh, you know, because this influencer is posting this way, then we feel like, oh, you know, like there's no problem with it. But like from the outside looking in, there are certain things where I just feel like you should kind of be there are things that you should be very mindful of when it comes to posting on social media, because whether you like want to acknowledge it or not, or whether you know it or not, or even whether you might think that certain things that you post is harmless and you know that like that's not who you are, you have to be like realistic enough to understand that in the world that we live in, perception is everything. And of course, like, perception is not always going to be right, but the reality is sometimes you could be doing things that could be fueling people's perception of you, and sometimes it can not be for a good thing. And I just really thought it was important for me to make this video, just in case, like, you know, it sparks a little something in somebody who's watching it, to where you start to become a lot more just self-aware with how you are posting, and again, how it may come off. And one thing that I want to emphasize is I am the type of person where I will always tell people to not be so focused on what other people may think of you and how other people might judge you based off of you just being yourself and just existing and showing up. Because at the end of the day, like, the reality is people are going to talk regardless, whether you're doing something good or whether you're doing something bad. People are always going to have an opinion. But what I will say is you also have to understand the power that you have in your perception in the eyes of other people. And of course, we're not always going to be able to control, because people can build their own perceptions of you based on just their own life experiences, how they may perceive things, and it's not always going to be like reflected of the truth. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of it can just be projections, and it does not always have to align with what really is. But in this case, we are talking about things where like you could be aiding your perception in a negative way without you realizing it, and you may think it's harmless, but it could be affecting you negatively, and it could affect just the type of experiences that you are having, the way people are interacting with you. And like I said, I'm not making this video from a place of judgment. I'm more so just like bringing awareness to it, in case, you know, like you may have fell into the trap where maybe this video will spark something in you for you to say like, okay, let me be a little more mindful with how I'm posting online. Because when it comes to social media, like, you have a digital footprint, and what you post is always going to be there. And yeah, you can delete stuff, but it's still like, once people see things, like, they can have a certain image of you, a certain perception of you. And sometimes once that image is there, or it could be even first impressions, oftentimes once a person builds a certain perception of you, oftentimes that is the perception that they will hold, and it will be difficult for that perception to change of you, you know, based on however they go about processing things. So I did briefly cover this topic like on a video that I did about Angel Reese, and how people were like going at her, basically saying how she basically wants to be a 304, she don't want to play ball and blah blah blah. And I had like a different perspective of it in the video. I'm gonna tag it down below. It's on my other channel, but I'm gonna link the direct link down below so you guys can just watch that. But I was just speaking from the perspective of, as a young lady who is 26 years old and I am 5'10" and I've been 5'10" since like the 8th grade, I understand the struggles that a person would have as being a tall girl. And you may have been operating more in your masculine energy, you know, like just embodying tomboy because of the projection of people outside of yourself, you know, oftentimes because, oh, you know, you're tall, you should play ball, or, oh, you know, whatever the case is, or just the discomfort that comes with you showing up as a girly person. Basically, I was just discussing just the transition from girlhood to womanhood and how I feel like Angel Reese was struggling from growing from being a tomboy kind of to like trying to find her feminine self in her womanhood as she gets older. But it's like the blueprint, I don't want to say blueprint, but the direction that she was going in was kind of given like IG model aesthetics. And we know like the way that the IG models show up, it tends to be like a little more on the vulgar side, or I don't want to say like she was giving vulgar energy, but it's just like certain things people were seeing it as like, you know, they were confused as to why she was dressing the way that she was. But anyways, that's not the point of this video, but I'm just saying I did bring up a lot of great points, so I would definitely love for y'all to check that video out. But in this video, I'm just saying like, y'all, when it comes to like the way that you show up on the internet, you have to be really mindful, because once you put something out there, like, I'm not saying that you can't like, you know, take it down, but it's like it can still put a certain image of you in people's mind, and you don't want that to affect you negatively in the way that people interact with you and the opportunities that you may have, or just, you know, like whatever the case is. And of course with this video, I could be talking to like women of different ages, right? But I feel like it's really important for me to emphasize on the girls who are, you know, entering womanhood and who are trying to find themselves. And, you know, I feel like as grown women, you could also be trying to find yourself. But what I'm saying is, like, when you are easily influenced by what you see online and you think this is harmless to replicate, and I get it, right? A lot of things that we might see, like, let's say for example, the lingerie birthday photo shoots, the Valentine's Day lingerie photo shoots, and all these little things that we may see posted online, or like, you know, bent over showing your thong and your panties, or holding your breasts. Like, it's a lot of things where I get like, you know, it gives sex appeal, it gives grown, it gives sexy, but it's just like, it's one thing to recreate it just because, you know, for memories or whatever, but then it's another thing to recreate it but then post it for people to see. And it's like some of those things, I feel like, you know, just like your sexual energy is not something that you want to, even if it's not something that you're actively doing, but it's not something that you want to share with everybody. It's not something that you want everyone to get a peek into. And like I said, it's different with like, you know, if you are like exuding that energy in like a confident, bold, you know, grown type of way, or just even just in how you show up, that's one thing. But like to do the other things where I feel like it's a little over the top, like, you know, like I said, the lingerie photo shoots, I feel like it does not translate the way that people think it does. And yeah, it may look good, but then it's still like, you know, it's that part where like when a person sees it, there's a bit of shock there, or it's just like, you know, why do you want to post that unless you want to do like adult work or whatever. I'm not necessarily speaking to that crowd, because, you know, I can't really tell you what to do with your life, but I just feel like, yeah, like the lingerie photo shoots, like it looks cute when you see it online, but it's like you don't want to be the person posting it. And I've seen several people that I follow on Instagram who I've went to school with, and they've done the lingerie photo shoots, and it's like I've noticed they eventually took it down, because it's like, you know, like you're inviting in unwanted energy that you may not know that you're attracting, and you may know that you're attracting it, right? You may know that that's what you're gonna bring in, but it's just like with the people that are going to gravitate towards you, I can almost guarantee you that when they approach you, they're not going to be operating from a space of respect. They're going to be operating from a very just lustful place, and I just feel like that's energy that you don't want to attract into your life. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want guys to be like in your DM strictly because they see you as the fun girl, girl or somebody that they look at as like easy access because you have posted something where they now think like, oh, you know, she doesn't respect herself, because that's kind of how it translates. And I get it, people say like, oh well, why can't people post like lingerie pictures if you can post yourself in a bathing suit? And I feel like that's a little different because it's just different. Like lingerie is tied to like the bedroom and sexy time. Swimsuits and bikinis is tied to the beach where you have everybody at. And even then, like when you think about going to the beach, like you're not thinking about putting on like a little G-string thong. So you know, like context is everything. Like when you see a certain thing, it reminds you of something else, and lingerie does not remind you of something innocent like you would think of, say, a bikini or a swimsuit. So like I said, those lingerie photo shoots, like they're cute when you see them, but it's just like you don't want to have that like on your portfolio, your online portfolio. Honestly, I just don't think it's a good look, and I feel like you're going to be inviting in certain energies that are just operating from a low frequency, and I feel like guys are not going to be like approaching you in a respectable manner. And it's just like, if you can avoid certain things, like just avoid it. Like not every trend needs to be followed. Or like I said, I've seen trends where girls are like bent over and basically like holding their booty cheeks, or like bent over and their pants are unbuckled but like their G-string is like out. So it's like you're kind of trying to emphasize on that. And I also feel like, you know, that is also going to be inviting in unwanted energy. And it might be I'm saying unwanted because from my perspective, that's unwanted energy. I don't want you to interact with me in a certain way based on me posting something like that, because I know if you're going to be interacting with me, you're going to be coming and approaching me in a very disrespectful manner, in a way that I feel like does not reflect respect, and that's gonna make me feel like, how dare you, get what I'm saying? So it's certain things that I just avoid posting. There's certain things, like, it's not to say like, you know, like I said, if you're gonna take certain pictures, even though I feel like, you know, you should be really mindful of that as well, like just be really careful about what you are doing digitally, and also how it can be broadcasted publicly. And also another type of picture, them sneaky link photos, where, and maybe not just sneaky link, but even just like you engaging with your partner. Like I don't know, like I just feel like certain pictures, it's like, it's okay, listen y'all, I get it, behind the scenes is one thing, but publicly is another thing, you know? Like keep your poker face publicly, keep it cute publicly, keep it respectful publicly, because the reality is exclusivity gives you respect. When you are not constantly putting yourself out there, and you are actually treating yourself like a gem, like you are valuable, and everyone does not have access to you, and you don't move in a way where people just have random access to you. For one, that reflects self-respect and self-love, because it's like you realize that not everyone deserves to experience certain aspects of you. Not everyone deserves to see certain sides of you, and it's okay for you to keep that to yourself and to people who, you know, you feel like you can be that way with. But it's just like publicly, I just feel like, listen, especially in this day and age, like jobs are looking at your social media, like some way or another they're gonna find it, right? If you have your coworker, or even if you work online, like, or even just like in general, like opportunities that you could have, you do not want your social portfolio to sabotage your opportunities that could be blessings in your life. But because your digital footprint is not the best and it does not reflect a positive image, you know, like you don't want to fumble opportunities just for that. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, when you show up in a way where you are respectful of yourself, and I'm not saying to be like a nun and be super modest, you know, but I am saying, you know, like whatever your style is. Like for me personally, I love the grown and sexy look. There are times where I'm covered up, and there are times where, you know, I might be giving real, you know, looking like, damn, she look good, you get what I'm saying? But it's like there's balance with everything, and I feel like the way that I do it, it's not like in a way where I'm trying to like seek attention, where I'm basically like, I'm trying to be thirsty for you to be thirsty over me, or I'm trying to like put certain images out there to where like I want my DMs to be flooded with, like I said, it's gonna be energy that I don't want. Like I would not want lustful men in my DMs and you talking like a certain type of way where, like I said, I'm gonna be looking at you like, why do you even have the audacity to talk to me like that? But it's just like when you show up a certain type of way, that's what you are silently communicating to people. And I'll be completely honest, I don't have these issues when it comes to just how people interact with me. I feel like people interact with me in a very respectful way because I feel like there's a way to do things without you overdoing it. You can still embody grown and sexy, and even then don't rush for that, but you can still embody a certain level of femininity without overdoing it in a way where it's going to work against you. That's all I'm really trying to say with this video. And for the young girls, do not rush to show up in a certain way. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a way that you can present yourself with balance and still send a message of, even if it's not sending a message, but you can still show up and embody certain energies with it still being tasteful and respectful. And I just want to make it very clear, this video is for the women specifically. Like, I'm talking to you and how you should want to like show up, but like I'm not telling you how to show up, but it's just like, just me giving you perspective on how other people may view you based on you showing up a particular way. And if you want to be respected a certain type of way, then there's a way that you should avoid showing up. So this video is really about you. So there is nothing wrong with wanting to embody a certain type of energy because that's how you genuinely feel and that's what's being reflected on the outside. But don't like force it, or don't make it to where like you just seem like you open for business. Because honestly, y'all, I even know people where they be posting certain things like posts like words on their stories, and I be like, what even made you feel like confident to post this? Like, because I'm reading this and I'm looking at you crazy just by reading what you just wrote. Like, why did you even feel like this was okay for you to post? And it's like, when I think about it, I wonder how people be in your DMs, because I can only imagine the type of men, the type of people that you're attracting in your DMs, or that's just interacting with you, but also how they're interacting with you. And it's just like, listen, like, if you're feeling a certain type of lustful way, you do not have to post it on the gram. Like, you don't have to make a post about it. You don't have to share a story about it. You don't have to even let people in on the thought of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, some things are okay for you to keep to yourself. And like I said, I'm not trying to speak from a place of, oh, you're not human or whatever, and you're not going to feel certain things, or you're not going to, you know, like want to do certain things. But it's a matter of, everybody don't need to see it. Everybody don't need to know. It's okay to keep some things to yourself, and it's okay to be exclusive. It's actually good to be exclusive, because everybody does not deserve to experience certain sides of you, or even, you know, like know certain sides of you. Everything ain't for the internet, okay? And some things you might think, oh, because you took it down, but trust me, everybody that took it down is still in my mind and I still remember. You get what I'm saying? Listen, I'm gonna just end this video here. Just be really mindful of what you're posting. Not everything needs to be posted. You don't need to prove a point. You don't need to show that you are like this sex appeal. Like, no, you can, but you can do it in a classy way. But you don't need to do it in a vulgar way to where like you literally showing all your goodies. Like, leave something for the imagination. Leave it exclusive to people who earn that side of you, people who are worthy of that side of you. But everybody don't need to see it. And please do not self-sabotage possible opportunities that could come into your life because you want to, you know, follow trends, and you want to, you know, whatever the case is. Listen, y'all, respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, I promise you, people will see that, because you will embody a certain level of energy where it's undeniable that, you know, if you're gonna step to me, you gotta step to me correctly in every form. And people will try you, but that's where boundaries come into play. But anyways, y'all, I thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.